Hello everybody, AlzaboHD here, and welcome back to part 2 of Fascist Switzerland, a Hearts of Iron 4 Let's Play series. Welcome back, guys. Last episode, we have selected Switzerland. We've gone ahead and started our development in our country, and we're just producing more and more infantry weapons to equip our ever-ready and ever-vigilant soldiers who are now doing jumping jacks for us today. So, what exactly are we doing in this particular Let's Play? Well, I'm glad you asked. Checking back in our political tab, we can see that fascism is on the rise. Our party leader, Dr. Max Leo Keller, has a fascist demagogue in Jacob Lorenz, who is increasing the word of fascism on the streets of Zurich, on the street of Bern. He is going around the country making sure that everybody wants to listen to the words of fascism. We must increase our Phalangist sympathies so that this way we can join the Axis and become buddy-buddy with Nazi Germany. But before we do that, we're going to go ahead and need to skip ahead quite a bit, as we've done in the last episode. Now, unfortunately, because Switzerland is a tiny little neutral country surrounded by massive European countries, we will have a lot of downtime. So if this is something that bothers you, in between picking, let's say, research and national focus trees, why don't you go ahead and skip ahead maybe 5 or 10 minutes. I think by then we will probably have a fascist coup gone ahead and set up so that this way we can go ahead and join the Axis. So another tech tree has opened itself up for us. We are going to go ahead, because we've already selected basic machine tools, we're going to go ahead and work on concentrated industry as opposed to dispersed industry. Something that is interesting with this particular research tree is that these two are mutually exclusive. If, for example, I chose dispersed industry, I would not be able to choose any of these trees here. And from what I can see already, as it seems that dispersed industry is better for larger countries, such as the Soviet Union, that have a lot of space between their particular lines of production and means of production with their factories. But I want to go with concentrated industry because this will give us immediately a plus 20% factory output, and will also allow us 20% more factories in a state, as opposed to the only 10% factory output and other various benefits to dispersed industry that we will not get into just right away. So good, now that we've got our tech up and ready, we're going to go ahead and work on basically developing our soldiers, right? So most of our soldiers are still awaiting military goods. Let's go ahead and just double check. Yep. So it looks like they are at 54% fighting strength, which is a bit better than they were at the beginning of last episode when they were, I believe, at 25% combat readiness. So they are improving their combat readiness, again, going to the production line. We are producing quite a bit more infantry weapons now, which is always a very good thing. So because we've completed Construction Effort 2 in our focus tree, which has given us yet another building slot and civilian factory, this time we are going to go ahead and work on the Armament Effort, which will give us yet another building slot, but also a military factory, in which we can go ahead and produce potentially some tanks, maybe some more guns, maybe some more support weapons for our troops on the front line. Something of note, I wanted to just say that 20 divisions here is actually a lot of units for such a small country like Switzerland is. You know, this is pretty impressive, really. Again, before I played this particular country, I did play as Ireland a little bit. I played around with them because I noticed they had 3 regions. But again, they only start with 1 division, and their manpower is so low that I was really only able to, make 3 or 4 divisions by the time, even 1938 rolled around. So I don't really recommend Ireland. They're very, very difficult to play. Maybe if you want to make a playthrough where you take over the United Kingdom as Ireland, it's possible, but it's not going to be easy. So what just happened, Italy has just annexed Ethiopia. This is something that I expected would happen a while ago. I mean, it's already November of 1936. Usually, Italy takes care of that, in August. But it's okay. This is the AI. This is something that we can't have. We don't have any control over. So again, we will keep our eyes out on the potential Axis members, as I don't believe Italy is even involved in the Axis yet. Yeah. So, speaking of factions, why don't we go ahead and pull up the factions map mode over here? So we pull this up, we can see that the only members in factions currently are the United Kingdom and Canada. I believe the United Kingdom is the leader of the Allied faction. Yes, they are. And their buddy of Canada is also in the Allied faction as well. Very, very interesting. In terms of the Axis, however, I want to say that the only member of the Axis is the German Reich. I could be wrong. But in terms of the Comintern, the Soviet Union have several different members of the Comintern. I believe they start off with Mongolia and Tanutuva, which are both communist governments, so they are aligned with the Comintern. So, again, this will be something to keep our eye out on. As the time progresses in Hearts of Iron 4, more and more countries will join their factions. And this doesn't necessarily have to be something like it did in World War II, right? It's not necessarily the Allies versus the Axis in this game. I've seen games where, in certain time lapses that I've made, where the Comintern, for example, just goes crazy, declares war on the Allies, and just eats up, Western and Central Europe. This can happen, Anything is possible in a Hearts of Iron 4. So going to the southwest while we wait for our country. Speaking of which, we've gone ahead and already researched mechanical computing and tanks, which is always good. Let's go ahead and work on getting our first decent tank running. So we can choose between two separate types of trees from the very beginning. I'm going to talk about each one. So we can opt for the heavy or the light tank. And just because the heavy tank looks bigger and looks better doesn't necessarily mean it is. If we click on each one of these tanks, we can see they each have their own statistic. Now, generally, the bigger and the slower the tank is, the more breakthrough and higher heart attack it will have. Now, what exactly is a heart attack? What exactly is breakthrough? Well, I'm glad you asked. Breakthrough, simply speaking, is analogous to Europa Universalis' shock value, right? This is something that basically means that this is how much we can attack the enemy before we start to take penalties, right? So if you have high breakthrough, we're going to be very good at breaking through the enemy lines. Now, hard attack and soft attack. Soft attack is basically how much attack efficiency we do versus soft targets like personnel, like infantry, like medics, that sort of thing. Whereas hard attack is the damage that we do against other armored vehicles like tanks and mechanized infantry. You'll notice that between these two tanks, they have wildly differing soft and hard attack. The heavy tank 1 has higher soft attack and higher hard attack. Not hard attack, but hard attack, and a higher breakthrough as well, whereas the light tank has lower in each one. However, the light tank is faster, the light tank is quite a bit lower in production cost, and the light tank, comparatively speaking, has a higher soft attack rating in terms of its production efficiency. So we're going to go and work on researching those light tanks, while at the same time working on researching something else. Now, because we are Switzerland, we can pretty much throw any naval doctrine or naval units out the window. We are a landlocked country, we don't give a crap. So instead, let's go ahead and focus on getting some airplanes up and running, right? That's always a good thing. So we already have some close assault, or close air support ships or planes up and running. We should go ahead and work on getting some fighters up. Once we've researched fighters and tanks, we'll go ahead and start producing them from our military factories. And we have some more political power, so let's go ahead and use that on, let's say, a tank designer. This will reduce our armor research time, so this will reduce the time it takes for us to research tank designs, and it will give us more armor for each one of our tanks. Let's go ahead and do that, as we are currently researching tanks as we speak. So as I'm talking, I'm going to go ahead and zoom up on the Spanish Civil War. It really looks like National Spain is winning at the moment. Of course, Republican Spain is this white faction over here. These are the communist and democratic sympathizers, whereas the Fascist Spain is the larger kind of, I don't really know what color this is. I'm colorblind. It's like red, orangish is their color. So free military factories. We've got yet another military factory now that we've completed our national focus on armament effort. Let's go ahead and work on the infrastructure efforts so that we can go ahead and pump out some more civilian factories. So for the time being, we have a free military factory. You never want to have free military factories. You always want to put them on something. Alright, sorry about that. I just sneezed. I edited that out of the video, however, so you don't have to hear that. So because we've set up another military factory to produce infantry weapons, our production efficiency has went down quite a bit, but this will increase over time, assuming we do not reassign and reappropriate our military factory to something else, which we will in a minute. We are also making insufficient resources for, let's see what that's for. I believe that's for support equipment. Just go ahead and double check really quick. So, not wasting any resources. We need some more steel. Oh man, this is gonna be bad. So we might want to trade with Nazi Germany once again for more steel. Of course, steel is something that we will always need in this game. Select the German Reich, just like that. So we're gonna go ahead and send them yet another civilian factory for more steel. This will cripple our... Wait, what? I thought I just traded. Pull that up really quick. Oh, I guess the trade did not go through. Yeah, so I'm gonna click steel, select German Reich. Oh, okay, I see. Because we're already trading with the German Reich, we need to go ahead and set this to 2, I believe. Yeah, just like that. Now that's taken care of, again, our production capacity is going to be crippled just a little bit. It's going to be a bit slower for our first factory to come up, but that's okay. In exchange, we get steel, which we will use for tanks, which we will use for weapons, which we'll use for absolutely everything. So that's a good trade-off. So again, we've set up our new military factory supporting our infantry infrastructure here, which is always a good thing. Let's go ahead and keep skipping ahead really quick. We're keeping our eye on the Spanish Civil War. So the Spanish Civil War is not over yet, although it does seem like fascist Spain has the upper hand. Of course, any country in this game can send volunteers to either side. So for example, if you are a democratic government or a communist government, you might want to support Republican Spain. Whereas if you are a fascist government like Nazi Germany or even fascist Switzerland, you can send in civilians, or not civilians, but military volunteers to support nationalist Spain. Now what this does is if you send in some sort of volunteers, this is good because this will increase the likelihood of your faction winning. And if they do win, you might have just netted an ally for your particular faction. That is to say that if fascist Spain wins, usually they might join the Axis if provoked into World War II. And if the Democratic Republican Spain wins, they might join the Allies in World War II, which is definitely a very, very good thing to keep in mind. Now, that being said, our infrastructure effort is completed. So let's go ahead and focus on construction effort 3, which will automatically give us 2 civilian factories in eastern Switzerland. This is very, very good. Of course, we need to make sure we get as many factories as possible right from the beginning of the game. And because we are a small country with only 2 regions, it's even more important that we get factories up and running than the bigger countries which already have, dozens of factories already from the very start of the game. So let's keep an eye on our fascism, right? So fascism, we almost have 30% of the popular opinion towards the NBS, which is like the national, Swiss fascist party, if we could call it that. Directly aligned with, I think, the Nazi ideology. So we finished researching something over here. Let's go ahead and focus on the next one, this time for construction speed 2. Again, focusing on our construction speed, research speed, and various tanks and aircraft at the moment. It's going to be important for us to get those regiments up and running as fast as possible. That being said, our production, we're almost done with weapons, which is fantastic. Of course, if you produce weapons and you don't need them, they will be sent to your stockpile, so definitely something to keep in mind. They're not going to be wasted, for example, which is something that we need to keep in mind. So let's go ahead and look over at our constructions once again. We have, I believe, finished a civilian factory. We got 12 now, which is fantastic. So that's very, very good. Things are speeding up for us in Switzerland, which is always a good thing. And if we go into our construction screen, I believe we can make more things now in Switzerland, because before, remember, we were capped out on 8, but because we've fulfilled our infrastructure, we can build yet another factory in Switzerland. Let's go ahead and make a military factory this time. And this is our queue, basically. The more we have selected here, the longer it will take, but we have one more civilian factory in eastern Switzerland before we make a military one in regular Switzerland, so that's okay. Again, I'm talking about the regions, not the country. So any minute now, hopefully, we should have some sort of fascist event that pops up. I'm simply waiting on that to happen. And we have yet another ability to buy some more advisors. We have 150 political power. And something I've not said in the, or not remarked about in the previous episode, is that political power is also used to increase your influence with other countries. So, for example, if you want to become friends with a different country, this is the best way to do it. It does cost, however, political power each day. And if you want to spread your ideology, so for example, if you're the Soviet Union and you want to work about making the workers of the world unite under communism, you can actually select a country and bolster the propaganda and bolster the power of that particular communist party in a different country. So that's something to keep in mind as well. Of course, it's not limited to communism. You can use that for fascism and I believe even democratic regimes as well. So let's go ahead and work on political power gain. It's pretty good. The more political power we get, the better. Now we are going from 1 to 1.3 per day. Something that is definitely going to be quite useful for us here in fascist Switzerland. So our research for tanks has completed. And we have 2 more civilian factories. Let's go ahead and work on getting those military factories up and running. And tanks. Aha. We want to work on the LP2. We will produce these in mass quantities as soon as we've researched them. Very, very good tank. Doesn't cost very much production whatsoever. And it's very decent. Very, very, very decent tank. Let's go ahead and work on that. It'll be up in 160 days. The Hindenburg has crashed. Oof. This crashed in New Jersey. This was a basically a Zeppelin, kind of like a lighter-than-air, sort of like blimp type of craft. It was a Nazi blimp. Very, very sad. This could spell the end of the era of airships. Yep. You don't really see airships after this. I mean, you see a few of them. I believe the United Kingdom and Germany were the, forefront, inventors and investors and supporters of these types of craft. Aha! So here we go. Due to the fact that we have a fascist sentiment of 32% among the popular opinion of our people, we have some fascist sympathies in the military. So this faction may not predominantly be politicians, but some of them have gained positions in the Department of Defense. If these developments continue, they may have sufficient political support to execute a coup. The national spirit outranks the government. Aha! So, if popular support outranks anything else, we will get the ability to raise a coup d'etat. So we need to make sure that we increase the support of fascism in our country. But it's only changing by plus 0.03 each day because of the fact that we already have a decently popular fascist group already in power. So, our fighter has been completed, and we can't really work on any other ones because we are a bit ahead in time. We could work on bombers, but I don't want bombers. Instead, let's work on something else. So something of note is if you're ahead of time, you'll get this ahead of time penalty. This will increase the time it takes for you to research things. I don't recommend really to do that. So we're not going to go ahead of anything really in time. Instead, working on things we have not yet done, such as concentrated industry 2, increasing the production efficiency of our factories, something that we definitely need to be working on as a very small country. So that being said, we could go ahead and work on something new for our military factories. We already have enough civilian, or rather military equipment for our soldiers. So let's go ahead and work on producing some aircraft. In this particular instance, we will work on making some fighters, some fighter planes. And we're going to work on, let's see, we'll keep 2 on the military, and we're going to make 2 here. But we are missing out on oil, I believe. So we need oil and rubber if we want to make fighters at max efficiency. Let's take a look at our construction screen. So can we spare... Yeah, we probably can. I was going to say, can we spare taking away one of our civilian factories to get us, or to give us one of these resources? And I think we can. So let's go ahead and trade for rubber and oil. So, who can help us out here? Brazil can. Aha. I don't want to trade with the Netherlands, France, United Kingdom. These will be people that we will probably be at war with in the future. Oh, and we cannot trade with Brazil because we don't have any convoys. Oof. Well, we can trade with the Netherlands. So let's go ahead and do that, I guess, for the time being. They'll give us 8 units of rubber. That's fine. Oil. Let's work on somebody else. Hopefully somebody that would be potentially fascist, like the German Reich. They only have one. Rubber. Who could we ask for some rubber? Maybe Netherlands again, or maybe even Iraq. Alright, so Iraq will give us 8 for 1 civilian factory. That's alright. That's alright. So we've really lost out on a lot of our production efficiency here. It'll actually take us 1 more year to make a civilian factory, but that's okay. We've got what we need for the time being. And of course, you can micromanage this to your heart's desire. But now that we've gotten our efficiencies and required resources, we are pumping out 1.64 fighters per month, which is certainly a lot better than it was. In fact, why don't we go ahead and do it like this? Aha. So this is a bit better because we don't really need that many infantry equipment, and this will increase our rate at making fighters. So that's good. We're making some fighters, which we can mobilize later on once war breaks out, right? At least that's the idea. Fascist coup d'etat. Oh, here we go. Politics will change. NBS will be the ruling party. Public elections will not be held. Gains reign of terror, which grants political power. Aha. So, today the military has overthrown the Swiss Federal Council. The new Swiss leadership has no plan to allow resistance to grow. Martial law has been declared, and with the changes that are underway, whatever comes after is unlikely to be very different. Aha! Take a look at this. Our flag has changed. We are now the Swiss Imperial Confederation with Dr. Max Leo Keller as our leader. Very, very cool. Very, very nice, right? Well, now that that's been taken care of, we need to go ahead and immediately work on making friends with Hitler, who will not accept me because of the world tension. Ah. Very, very strange. Alright, so let's go ahead and increase our relations with him. It'll cost a daily 0.2 political power a day, which is totally okay. Excuse me. And if we wanted to, we could probably establish relations more with Italy as well. But for the time being, we don't really care. We'll just increase relations with Germany for the time being. So that being said, I wonder if there is a way to check the ledger like there is in European Universalis 4. I want to see if there is a way to do this because we might actually be more powerful than Austria at the moment because we already have a military that is 100% combat ready, effective, I believe. Although they are starting to take attrition, I believe, from winter, even in our own territory, which is a bit weird. But it is what it is. All right. So where is the ledger? Do we get a ledger here? If we do, it's probably not going to be the same way as it is in European Universalis 4. Let's just double check really fast. So let's click on Austria. Maybe we can see over here. Land lease, create faction, I don't see any way. If you guys know in the comments below, please let me know, because I'm not exactly sure how powerful Austria is. I only have vision on their closest, units over here on our border. So if Austria is pretty weak, we could opt to perhaps declare war on them preemptively. And if not, it's okay. We do have a fascist system of government up and running, which is always a good thing. And once we're done with our armament effort, we'll work on kind of creating some more fascist ideologies, which is good. Okay, so we've abandoned our neutral foreign policy. Switzerland is not neutral. Against a world who wants nothing more than to keep us down, if we do not take a stand, we will perish alone. For the future of the Swiss Imperial Confederation. Aha, reign of terror, political power gain plus 10%. So now, maybe, just maybe, we can ask to join the Axis. They will accept. Ladies and gentlemen, we are now a member of the Axis. Take a look. Aha. Fascist Switzerland is up and ready. Oh man, this is going to be so much fun. I've got a great next episode for you on the 3rd episode. But before we get ready, let's go ahead and set up a offensive line, our front line, on our border with Austria. By clicking on this. How How do I... Oh, hold on 1 second. We will set up a front line just like so. I thought that I could set it up like this, but apparently I can't. So what we'll do is we'll set up most of them in these 2 provinces, or 3 provinces, or whatever over here. So now that we've unpaused, hopefully our men will start moving. Yeah. We're going to go ahead and ready for war here. Millionaire disappears, we don't really care. So now that we are allies with Germany, which is fantastic news, we can go ahead and declare war on Austria, which is always something that I would like to do. You know, this is going to be very, very fun, very, very cool, all that sort of stuff. I'm not sure exactly if a lot of units on a particular tile gives you attrition like it does in other European or other Paradox Interactive games. But again, we will find out very shortly. So let's go ahead and draw an offensive line into Austria. First of all, let's go ahead and see... Okay, so we're going to actually make them... What's really cool in this game is you can set up lines like you're just drawing, right? So we want us to take all of the Tyrol territory. Very, very good, just like so. So now that that is being taken care of, our units will have time to prepare for this exercise, right? So that's very, very good. So next episode, we are going to declare war on Austria with our buddy Hitler. In fact... Okay, so my alarm is going off. Yeah, we have to end the episode right here. But, just for shits and giggles, if we were to declare war on Austria right now... No war goal. Ah, we should justify something. Let's set Tyrol. And... Let's see, upper or lower Austria? Right now we just want Tyrol. We don't need to go crazy. Because Germany might want this territory in the future. We don't want to, like, piss off Germany, too, you know? Okay. Yeah, let's do that. It's going to take us until 1938 to complete. Okay, so we actually have to wait, like, another year before we declare war on Austria, unfortunately. But that's okay. Again, our units are preparing their offensive line into Austria. They are training once again, and they are all along the border. So Austria probably knows exactly what's going to happen if they piss us off, right? You have unfulfilled import requests, oil from Iraq, and no national focus is set. So, do we want another military factory, or do we want to go ahead and work on our collectivist ethos? Division training time. Let's go to work on our collectivist ethos, which will decrease our democracy support, which is something that we would like. And we have free military factories and unused oil sources. So let's go ahead and work on making some more planes. And we still could use something from Iraq. What about in our research screens over here? Where's the research at? Yeah. So pretty soon we can go ahead and set up another production line with tanks, which is very, very good. But for the time being, guys, thank you so much for watching. Stay tuned to the next episode where we declare war on Austria with our German allies. This is going to be great. Hopefully we can take the entire Austrian country for ourselves, annex all 3 of these very, very juicy and developed territories and regions. So again, thank you so much for watching this episode of Fascist Switzerland Hearts of Iron 4. Stay tuned for episode 3. It'll be out very soon. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you on the next episode. Take care.